We call it high-intensity sterilization program. Actually, more than 50% of the dogs we sterilize are with owners. But this is a very big and very important part.
Spend the next 20 minutes feeding your brain with Formosa Fauna so you can become smarter than all of your friends. Since its founding in 2016, Faith for Animals has helped spay and neuter dogs across Taiwan, preventing approximately 360,000 puppies from being born each year. Otis Kuo is both director of the organization and a veterinarian, offering a strong perspective on stray population management within Taiwan. We welcome Otis Kuo. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Ron.
Now, I would also like to talk a little bit about your work as a veterinarian.
Okay.
Because I think that's very interesting that you can balance the both of them, being a director of Faith for Animals and a veterinarian. What kind of work do you do specifically as a vet?
I do clinical work as a vet, and for me, though, being a vet and working for Faith for Animals sounds quite similar, but for me, it's totally different. It's like, I think Faith for Animals is like my day job. And the vet is like the jobs who, okay, it's kind of weird. It's a job that's actually making money for me to survive, but it's also what I'm interested in. It's really interesting and fun for me to work as a vet. Yeah, so that's why I never really leave the clinical work, and because I like it. Yes.
Fun.
Yeah,
really?
It's fun.
But you're an animal lover, right?
Yeah, but it's not only that. I really enjoy the work. I'm like a specialist for cancer, so I only see dogs and cats with cancers. So like all my friends, they hope they never have to see me with their animals, because whenever I see them, that means their animals had cancers. So yeah, that's like I only see this kind of patients, so I don't do normal.
You don't
neuter,
sterilize the animals yourself?
Yeah, I don't do that, and I don't do the general thing like skin problems or do vaccine shots. That's yeah. Yeah, so
very specific.
Yeah, very specific.
Just cancer.
Yeah.
Okay. But I still, because you studied veterinary science, is that what it's called? Veterinary science?
I think it's medicine.
Yeah. Okay. So from a vet perspective, because some people are opposed to spaying and neutering, sterilizing their own pets for reasons such as, I wouldn't want that to happen to me, or maybe I'll want to breed them in the future. From a vet perspective, what would you say to those people?
I think from the medical part, there are like strong evidence for dogs and cats to have breast cancers. That's what we call in humans. For them, it's like mammary gland tumors. It's related to the timing for their sterilization. If you sterilize the cat or dog before its first heat, then the percentage of having the mammary gland tumor would be 0.5%, very low.
Wow.
Yeah, but if you let them went on their estrous cycle, they went on heat for once, then the number changed to 8%. And then if you let them get their second heat, and it will change to 26%.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's even worse for cats, because for cats, 95% of the mammary gland tumors are malignant, so they might be fatal. So only from this, I think this is already a very good reason for any dog or cat owners to sterilize them before their first heat. Yeah, so this is from the medical standpoint. The other obvious point is if your dogs or cats are kept outdoors, then you might not have the good way to prevent them from have birth to puppies, to litters.
Bringing it back to stray management programs, if there's one factor that determines whether or not it will succeed, what would that be?
I think it would be the rationale behind the program design. It has to really corresponds to the situation in that country. Like in Taiwan, the commercial breeders, they don't play a vital factor in our stray dog problems.
Really?
There are problems, but they don't play a vital role. So if you design a program that has all the resources targeted on them, then it won't work.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know in some countries, these breeders are creating massive problems. So I think the first step is you have to really design a program that will work. So you have to understand the question, the problem you're facing. Yeah.
Okay. How big of a role do you think 弃养, like abandonment, plays in Taiwan specifically?
I think actually it's quite big because we've been abandoning dogs for decades. So there are many dogs that are already like wild ones. They've already been live in maybe on some mountains in a neighborhood for 10 years. They just keep breeding on their own. So for this kind of, we call feral dogs, there also accounts for a big part of stray dogs in Taiwan. But on the other hand, the newer dogs, I mean the new abandoned ones, still plays a big part, I think. But I think the important thing is the abandonment issues. It's not like people would imagine someone goes to a pet shop and buy a cute puppy and then abandon it like in 3 months because the dog is getting bigger and not as cute as before. That is totally not the case in Taiwan. In Taiwan, the abandonment issue is, I think, some really deeply connected with breeding issues. I mean, the breeding by the owners. They might even didn't want to breed them. They just didn't sterilize their dogs. And after they got pregnant or after the litters were born, they don't know how to deal with these dogs. So they simply throw them away. Yeah. And some of them, they might didn't throw them away, but they give the puppies away very easily because they don't want it. So they just leave the litter outside and say, oh, who wants it? And whoever wants it gets one. So you see, if the owner gets a puppy, gets a dog so easily, they might not be suitable owners, but they get dogs so easily. So as a result, those unsuitable owners would dump dogs very easily. So I think the dumping problem is serious in Taiwan, but it's deeply connected with the breeding problem.
We've been talking a little bit about TNR for listeners not familiar with that. It does stand for trap, neuter, return.
Yeah.
I used to think it was release, but I think it's return.
Yeah, either way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's another phrase that I heard just within the past couple years. It's called TNSA. Similar, but it's trap, neuter, shelter, adopt. And there's been a push for TNSA instead of TNR for native and endemic species here in Taiwan, because they say that, for example, those released, if they're cats, they're released back out in public, they could spread diseases to unvaccinated or more vulnerable species like Taiwanese leopard cats. They could compete for resources like food, or if they're dogs, they could outright just hunt and kill these animals. How do you think we can find a balance between the two?
At first, I think for the terminology TNR, we no longer use it because the trap part, it's like sterilize. It's like a sterilization program only for dogs without owners, so you have to trap them. But what we're doing now, we call it high-intensity sterilization program. Actually, more than 50% of the dogs we sterilize are with owners. But this is a very big and very important part, and you actually can't separate the sterilization of dogs with and without owners. It's like actually, when we're doing it, there might be some dogs, they're strays in the community, but they're just like playing with the dogs with owners. They're just all the same pack. Yeah, so now we don't say TNR because the policy would really work is high intensity sterilization program, not TNR. If you only do stray dogs, it won't work. Yeah. And as for the TNSA, I think it's still like a resource thing, because if you want to shelter them or find adoption for them, there are so limited resources. Like I think everyone, before they really do TNR, I think almost everyone have tried to find a private shelter or have tried to adopt some dogs or cats on their own. Nearly everyone who's doing TNR did that. But eventually, we couldn't do it because the resource is not enough. Yeah, so I think the first problem is this sounds ideal, good for the wildlife and also good for the dogs and cats. They could have a home, but in reality, this is really not an option. And the sterilization program we do, I believe it's like the most efficient way to minimize dog population. Yeah, this is the only thing I know that could really decrease the population, and maybe just in 5 and 7 years. I think the problem of TNSA is just, I can't imagine how you do it because you don't have that many resources. And if you really want to do TNSA, you might just ended up doing it in a really small neighborhood, then you're running out of resources. In Taiwan, for wildlife problems, actually the regions their overlap with stray dogs and cats are very wide. It's not like you can do TNSA on a little area, then we can protect these animals. That's not a reality.
Right.
Yeah, if that's a reality, we could do it. Or I think the government might even like set up fences, like they do in Africa. They do that a lot, to set up fences to prevent domestic animals to interact with wildlife. But in Taiwan, it's just so not the case. Yeah.
It'd be very hard to do with all the mountains and
not only the mountains, they're just so widespread. So it's like still coming back to the
the populations too.
Yeah.
And I guess it's like saying, in order to solve the issue, you still have to reduce the number of dogs.
Yeah, I think in the future, if we could all do TNSA, it's such a happy thing for everyone. Yeah, but maybe not now. Maybe we could do it in 10 years, maybe. So it's like a totally different thing. For every dog or cat you see out there, we just capture them, rescue them back, and give them a nice house. Such a beautiful future if we could achieve that. Yeah,
truly. What are some of the biggest misconceptions you've heard when it comes to pet care within Taiwan or across the world?
In Taiwan, I think there are many like older vets. They would say the dogs should be sterilized after the first heat. Or some of them would say the dog should be sterilized after the first layer. So yeah, so it's like it's really not a true concept. It's not the right concept, but like really for the older vets, they might say it. So like many dog owners would delay the sterilization and then get themselves litters of puppies because of that. Yeah, so I think this is like a very big one.
If you could make sure every single pet owner knows 3 to 5 things, what would they be?
I think in Taiwan, we really have to divide the owner population. There are like a group of owner. They're the kind of owner faithful animals are dealing with on a daily basis. They actually just treat their dogs as tools, and they never offer them any medical care actually. But I think they have to understand this law now. It says you have to sterilize your dog and you have to register your dog. It's like enforced by law. So if you don't follow it, you might get a fine. Yeah, and this is like important knowledge for all the pet owners in Taiwan. But I think especially in the countryside, many people are unaware of the law. And as for the dog owners in the cities who actually treat them as their family, I think for dogs, it's an easy thing, but you have to really prevent them from getting all kinds of ectoparasite. Like in Taiwan, if your dog's got a tick on their body, they could get like very severe blood parasite disease. Yeah, so the ectoparasite prevention, I think, is a very important thing. Another thing for a cat owner is like there are kind of a thing called 5-in-1 vaccine and the rabies vaccine. They're dangerous for cats. They could induce tumors in the future, and those tumors could be very lethal, very fatal. So now I think younger vets, we've been educated with this tumor in school, so we don't do those shots on cats. But I think in countryside or in some older clinics, they still do offer these shots, and it's quite a pity if the cats get the tumor in the future.
Now, looking towards the future, if Taiwan were to succeed, what would that look like in 10 to 20 years from now?
I think just looking at Taipei, I think Taipei is quite successful now because we almost can't see any stray dogs on the street. All the old spots with packs and packs of stray dogs are now like 0 stray dogs. I know many feeders, they used to go out to feed stray dogs in Taipei. They now all retired. They retired because they don't have dogs to feed. Yeah, so I think if this could happen like in all places in Taiwan, then it would be like a really good thing. And in Taipei, you can see most of the dogs are having good owners. Yeah, you can see people walk dog outside with their leashes, and dogs are in good conditions. So, and you don't easily see people chain their dogs outdoor in Taipei. And if you do so, you might get reported immediately in Taipei because people are so aware of animal welfare issue. So I always call Taipei is like the 2.0 animal protection era here. It's quite different just from maybe just 10 years ago. But I really have hope this could spread to everywhere in Taiwan.
Yeah, and Faith for Animals is spreading across Taiwan, so there is hope for the future.
Yeah,
definitely. Thank you, Faith for Animals Director Otis Kuo, for joining us on Formosa Fauna. For more information about the organization, please visit Faith for Animals at faithforanimals.org.tw, which will be linked in the episode and podcast description on RTI.
Okay, thank you everyone for listening. Bye-bye.
Send me an email at tristan@rti.org.tw. That is tristan@rti.org.tw. Making it to the end of an episode makes you a Formosa Fauna friend. See you next time for Formosa Fauna Fridays here on Radio Taiwan International.